We've just seen Test century number 34 for Joe Root, 11 years on from his first. And who knew what was to follow that sun-drenched day at Headingley?
259 for 4. Root on 96. Bracewell goes into bowl to him now. And that's nurdled away down towards third man. And there it is. Root's first Test 100 on a Saturday at Leeds in front of his home crowd. Huge roar goes up. And he gets a hug from Bairstow. A milestone in any cricketer's life. And possibly the first of many for Joe Root. A maiden Test match 100. Just listening to the crowd, I think they're shouting out Yorkshire, Yorkshire. Root's ecstatic. A lovely shot to get there as well, running it down to third man.
Joe Root, open stance. Taps his bat down. He gives himself room. He carves it out to the cover. And Joe Root goes to 34 Test hundreds. He jumps in the air. He raises his bat to the crowd. Everyone up on their feet to witness a man do something that no other England player has done before. We salute you, Joe Root.
He is quite simply England's greatest, and it's absolutely right he should have the record on his own. Take it in, Joe. We are watching a genius.
It's very hard to compare generations and those who have gone before, but I think, Cookie, I think you're right. I mean, I've seen a bit longer than you have. There's a lot of cricket before me, but it's hard to really imagine a better batsman than Joe Root in terms of technique and well, there's everything. Really, longevity these days.
I don't think anyone, if he takes a reverse sweep out to the seamer, which over the last little bit, I don't think anyone else, when you watch bat, has got that inevitability about him when he gets in that he's going to score runs and make it look as easy as he does. There's been some really elegant batsmen over our time. We're sitting next to Varney, great cover drive, Ian Bell. But Rooties just seems to be way above that level. And it's just an all-round game. Like, the spinner was bowling, and it's quite honestly today, he could have hit him wherever he wanted with absolutely no risk to it.
Yeah.
So therefore, to hit him wherever he wanted with absolutely no risk to it.
Yeah.
So therefore, that is the art of batting. Low risk shots will score you runs, and then you could be consistent, and that's why he scores as many runs as he does.
Yeah. When did you first see him, Michael? We go back to the sort of Sheffield connection.
Oh, I saw him when he was young. I think he was about 8. Him and his brother Billy. When I was playing at Sheffield Collegiate with his dad Matt, I was in like second team and then first team, and Billy and Joe would be around the dressing rooms. Billy was the cheeky one, actually. He'd come and nick your bats.
Did he?
Yeah, come and throw us a few on the outfield.
Cheekier than Joe?
Oh, yeah. Joe was quiet. Back in the time, when he was just coming through. And he played a lot of second-team cricket at Aberdeen Park. My brother actually was a captain. He used to open the bat, and he used to bat for a long period of time. He couldn't get it off the square, but all the senior players in the team, they didn't care. They could see that this young player had a huge amount of ability and just needed to just bat. We'd get runs at the other end, they'd say, and Joe, you just hang in there. And he had a few tricks in those days, a few sweeps and reverse sweeps. Yeah. And then obviously coming through Yorkshire, I saw him at Yorkshire very, very, very early. And I wouldn't say he was prolific. When he first came here, I just think we could all see that he could play. He played in the right way. He could move properly against seamers, and he could play on the back foot, when the ball was a bit quicker. And he's always been very, very skillful against spin. He's always had that ability to be able to manoeuvre the ball into the gaps. He's not had the power. You saw him there, actually. When they had to bat with Bashir and the spinner, go on, whack it out. That's not his game.
No, it's not.
His game is timing and kind of skill.
It was ironic listening to that first Test 100 described by Simon, actually, 4 down through third man.
Nurdle.
And then the 33rd again through third man. I mean, it's just where he gets his runs.
He picks the ball out of the hand quicker than anybody, and then he's just got that amazing ability to, there's an area outside off stump, and you'll hear coaches and play, I want our own channel. He owns channel in such a low risk fashion.
Yeah.
But he gets such a high reward because he plays it so late and he just runs it. The opposition pretty much always have to have 4 fielders behind square on the offside, because he's just so good. So you take away 4 fielders, and all of a sudden there's gaps everywhere else. They always have cover point on the boundary just because he's so good at just leaning on the ball. So before you're looking at Joe and he's just playing normally, he's just rotating the strike without taking any risk. And how often do you see Joe and you kind of watch him go out the bat and then you look up at the score, he's on 25.
Yes.
How's he got to 25? And it's not been through crash bang wallop, it's just been through poor technique and ability and skill. He is the greatest for me because he's just a wonderful role model as well.
Yeah.
You know, he's a fantastic person that goes with a great player.
That shot we're talking about, that little runaway down there, I mean, it feels to a non-batsman like there's an element of risk to that. I mean, just you're floating out there a bit, the ball just does something, it bounces a bit. You know, it'd be sort of a shot that you can imagine an old coach saying, "Oh, son, you're only playing like that. You know, keep a straight bat and all that." So it's that he plays it so well is quite unusual, I suggest.
Well, he plays it so late because he's in so much control. So because he's then playing it late and he's so still, he takes the risk out of it. Most people who are playing that shot, you know, they don't judge it well enough because if it's too close, you can't play it. So the judgment of length straight out the hand is probably quite a good point from Michael. I mentioned there's certain players when I first saw bat I thought he's special. I didn't have that for Joe Root, and I saw him in a one-day game. He played Essex in a one-day game, top of the order, and he couldn't get the ball off the square. Nice. Got like a 60 of 90 balls, and I think we chased 200 or whatever, and everyone said, "Oh, he's a good player." And I was like, I didn't see that, but what I did see when he came on up tour, he obviously then scored lots of runs to the Lions and came on tour with us. I saw someone mentally ready to play Test cricket, and the only check was when he walked out to bat in the first time how he'd handle it, because you could never know. I saw someone train unbelievably well in nets. He was our best player of spin pretty much straight away. He didn't play the first couple,
the India tour,
Nagpur in 2000 when we first picked him in the squad, and his development over such a short period of time in those 3 games, he was brilliant at spin. So we played him in the 4th game, and everyone was impressed of how he operated, how he got team environment, he got what it takes. And the final thing for me was, how's he going to handle the situation? Important game. You know, hadn't won in India for years. The game was in the balance. He walked out to bat with his England cap on in those days, looking 13.
Yes.
Massive smile on his face. And I watched his first few balls, and I was like, this bloke is here to stay. And I can honestly say it, he's scoring 10,000 Test runs. I don't know who I said it to, but I know I said it because that was a final little bit for me.
Yes.
Could he handle the occasion? Because I know how much cricket means to him and his family. You know, you saw his dad, their MCC member, in the pavilion. Yes. He saw Root as he walked out. So we know cricket. He knows cricket, and I just sometimes, with that extra pressure, just be a little bit too much to handle. Yeah. Clearly, absolutely not. And finally, just quickly, sorry, I'm waffling on. Even at the end, they scored 100, broke the record. He gets annoyed that he can't do certain things, and that should, to me, shows the hunger, the determination which he's got, which is why he just keeps on getting better and better and better.
Yeah, his granddad Don as well. They are. Don used to watch my Sheffield Collegiate first team with his pals on the side of the pitch with a glass of rosé or two, and would critique us, you know. And then Joe and Billy come through, and he's there watching them. But real cricket kind of family.
It's interesting that everyone goes through a bit of a lean patch. He had a bit of a lean patch, and where did he go back to? He went back to Sheffield, didn't he? Just to go back to playing there, to just get his game back again. But he hasn't really had that many poor runs, has he?
The only thing that's missing in his game is that big 100 in Australia. And I guess the only... You mentioned that channel that he kind of plays down to third, and he's got so much skill. The little bit of extra bounce in Australia with the half a bat, sometimes, you know, he's been caught out in the cordon, but... I can't imagine that he won't get 3 figures next year in Australia.
At home, 55.6. Away, a little bit of mental, because they have 3 tests on neutral territory. So his away average 46 to 47. So a little bit lower. But in Asia, averages just under 47. In India, 45 with 300s. One of very few players to have centuries in 3 different series in India. And just looking at his consistency, made his debut in 2012 and has played at least 7 tests in every calendar year since then. His worst calendar year was his first full year of Test cricket, 2013. He averaged 34. Since then, his lowest average in a calendar year has been 37, and he's been over 40 in all the other years since then, including, just counting them up, 1, 2, 5 years, including this one, in which he's averaged over 60. So remarkable consistency. You generally see in a player with a career that long, there is at some point a bit of a dip. But Root really hasn't had. He's had a few matches where he's had a dip, but he's not had a prolonged slump in form really in his entire career.